I'd like you to take a look into the face of rabies. That should scare you. It scares me.
Michael is a king of vision casting. Hey, we're Ted and Lisa, and we are nonprofit consultants. Now, nonprofit stuff shows up all the time in popular culture, and sometimes it's right on the money, and sometimes it is way off base. So today we're going to be checking out The Office Fun Run Race for the Cure.
We have raised almost $700, most of it for me and Jan. When do they put that on the giant check? Or is that something that we write in later?
Well, a giant check costs about $200 to make up. I have a print shop standing by, but what do you think, Michael? That's over 25% of our funds.
That's a tough decision.
So far in this episode, Michael started out by just running over Meredith. She is in the hospital. The office staff is mad at him, partly because, it's Michael running over someone, but also, his personality, if you watch The Office, that he's not handling this particularly well. Well, Meredith is in the hospital. It finds out that she has rabies, and Michael's like, hey, we can do something about this, and decides to host a fundraiser in which the office staff is now all obligated to run a 5K. That's one way to get people involved. Like, you're all already upset at me as a leader, and I'm the one who caused the issue, but I'm going to act like I'm the hero by starting a fundraiser that you're now obligated to participate in.
I always imagined it with a giant check.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am definitely on board for the giant check.
Giant check it is.
Well, I don't know. On the other hand, it does leave less money for bat birth control.
Bat birth control.
Wait, this money is going to bat birth control, right, Michael? That's what you told me when I contributed.
You didn't contribute very much. I was also...
Okay, nonprofits run into this issue a lot where they're trying to raise money, and so they just kind of fudge what they're raising money for just a little bit to try to get a little bit more out of certain people who maybe care about certain things. Apparently, Dwight cares about bat birth control. But he didn't care about a cure for rabies. So Michael had to kind of stretch the truth a little bit. And obviously, as nonprofit consultants, we highly discourage nonprofits from doing this because, well, it's lying.
I also loved at the beginning, Michael's like, I've just been picturing it with a giant check. Like, we have seen nonprofits put on events and they have it in their mind what it's supposed to look like. That they can't even pay attention to the other aspects of it because the total they've raised $700. The giant check is going to cost $200. Michael's like, maybe that's a good idea though, because if it doesn't line up with what's in his brain, he's going to perceive it as a failure. And so he's willing to do an illogical thing in order to get the outcome that he wants because it's not really about the fundraiser for the rabies.
Yeah, in Michael's mind, it's all about how much of a hero do I look like in order to cover up the fact that I ran over Meredith.
Before we get started, I want to say a few words about this deadly disease called rabies. And I'd like you to take a look into the face of rabies. That should scare you. It scares me. You people need to educate yourselves. Myth. 3 Americans every year die from rabies. Fact. 4.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about vision casting.
Oh, yeah.
Explaining why.
Michael is a king of vision casting.
Don't do this. This is like the bad, funny example of when people show, their cause in the light of, I'm going to show you the worst case scenario to try and pull on heartstrings. Because that Michael's not effective at any of this. But there is that point where it's like, there are other things that you can show that inspire hope in people, that inspire what's possible, that show a story or a journey of someone.
Yeah, in the nonprofit world, you have to be careful that you're not turning it into exhibitionism, where you're taking the people that you're trying to help and then putting them on display to generate reactions. It's a very, very strange balance to walk, but it's all in how you approach it. And great nonprofits have found out how to let people know about what's going on, show a little bit of the reality of what's going on without making a spectacle of the people.
I think part of it, too, is just saying, we want to show the stories while still making sure that we are giving the people we're helping dignity.
That's
and that
good.
picture of Meredith was not giving her dignity.
This is the face of rabies. This should scare you.
How many people? 3 people in the world? No, 4. Like, have some better statistics, please. Like, I mean, at least he had some, though.
That's true.
I've had some people ask me for money from a nonprofit who didn't have any numbers to back them up. So I'll give Mike a little bit of props.
How many of you know someone who has been afflicted or affected by rabies? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, too many to count. It is truly the silent killer. It is the foaming, barking killer. And it is something that, Daryl, what are you doing?
I'm giving him a peanut.
No, don't give him, did you hear anything I said?
Look how happy he is.
He's happy because he's insane. You know what? That's a perfect example of the kind of awareness we need to generate. Very cool you went back and got your degree. I would like you to accept this check for $340 made out to science. Make sure that gets into the right hands.
Okay, they haven't even run yet. Typically with an event, you want all of the money and the celebration part to be like the kind of the cap on like, look what we did. And also we raised the money. But also just science. Like, if you're going to do a fundraiser, now, if you're a nonprofit leader, obviously you want the money going to you or to someone that you're helping within your organization. But if it's like an individual, maybe you're a small business owner and you're like, I want to partner with a nonprofit, it helps so much to know what the nonprofit is, partly because you can get someone there to actually talk about what it is and sound much more intelligent about the thing. Michael, if you couldn't give the check to a doctor, would have been much better finding like a rabies organization, because a doctor won't come out for $500 or $700, but a nonprofit will very much have someone who can stop by and say a few things and actually help spread the word. Additionally, he's like, this is a fundraiser. And then he switched it. He's like, but we're raising awareness. It's like, wait a second, which one is it? Because both are good. But what's the actual focus here? Because they both require different things of an event. Go, Toby.
Why is he even here?
And the winner is Toby Flenderson.
Have a seat, I'll write it down.
Do a good job getting
Where are we?
volunteers that are gonna
I don't know.
support what you're trying
5
to do.
kilometers from the office.
5 kilometers from the office.
Couldn't have made it a circle.
That's like when leaders finish up a big event. They don't have the right people to celebrate.
Yeah.
Someone's done. They're like, we did it. And the leader looks at them and they're like, yeah, but another one's coming up in a month. Like, just that, like, we couldn't even celebrate it. We couldn't even look back and see what happened.
Now you gotta
couldn't
walk back 5 kilometers.
Couldn't made it a circle.
There's just one of me, and there's 1,000 of them, and rabies wins.
Wow. You are a downer.
And Michael, you don't have rabies. And chances are you're not going to get it anytime soon. So you don't really have to think about it too much.
Pam, if everybody felt that way, nothing would get done.
Yeah, but there's other better people out there who are helping.
I can make a difference. Remember, I'm the one who started this whole thing off by hitting Meredith with my car. And I owe it to her to finish this GD 5K. No.
Finishing that 5K was the hardest thing I have ever had to do. I ate more fettuccine Alfredo and drank less water than I have in my entire life. People always talk about triumphs of the human spirit. Well, today I had a triumph of the human body. That's why everybody was applauding for me at the end. My guts and my heart.
This is like the epitome of someone who hosts an event. It doesn't go the way they're anticipating. So they get super down about it. Instead of becoming the cheerleader for everyone else who's helping, they become the victim of the event. And then once they get the pity, then they talk themselves up into hey, don't discount me. You guys are wrong for doubting me. Now I'm going to stand up. And as I cross the finish line, I expect you all to support me. Like, it's like a false hero's journey of I want all of the attention, and so I'm going to manufacture it right at the end so that I go from being like frustrated about myself to everyone loves me.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask. Who are the heroes in your nonprofit? And if, as a leader of the nonprofit, you're the hero, you might want to rethink that.
And as a leader of the nonprofit, if you can't handle someone else being the hero, you might need to rethink that too. Because long term, if everyone just constantly has to support you and be cheering you at the end, eventually people can't handle it anymore because they want to see a leader who's willing to cheer on other people too.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, we actually did a similar thing with a clip from Southpark. The video's on the screen right now. We'll see you over there.